Hey everyone, welcome to the stream. I'm Nick from MongoDB, and I'm with special guests Maya and James from Google. And today we're going to be talking about Firebase Studio and how to develop MongoDB applications with it. So before we jump in, uh, Maya, do you want to go first and give a little bit of background so people know who you are?
Yeah, 100%. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Nick, for having us. Thanks, MongoDB. I'm Maya. I'm a PM at Google, and I work on Firebase Studio.
And hi, everyone. I'm James. I'm a developer relations engineer, also working with Maya on Firebase Studio.
So, why don't we start by saying, exploring, what is Firebase Studio? Let's kick it off there before we go into some demos and explore actually using it.
Yeah, 100%. I'm happy to drive you through a couple of slides and just tell you all about Firebase Studio, but most of all, prep you for why are we here and what are we highlighting specifically today, and where we have great collaboration with MongoDB. So if we can get to slides, I will drive you through just
And
very,
before you start
very.
that real quick, I just wanted to throw out that we're live right now. So if you have
Oh,
if
yeah.
you have any questions for us, whether or not you're viewing on LinkedIn or YouTube, drop us a comment. We can all see it, and we'll try our best to answer it on stream, or we'll follow up at the end of the stream. Let this be an interactive experience. Over to you, Maya,
Cool.
on the slides.
Thank you. I won't take a long time on the slides, but I just want to paint you a picture of a situation where we all have been probably many of times, and that is you're working on a new code base, you're importing a repo, trying to set up everything, you're completing a feature, and then it doesn't work. And it doesn't work because you're probably missing some of the packages, some of the dependencies, something is not really configured well, or like you have like an old version of something, and you are kind of trying to figure out what is the problem. Is the problem you? Is the problem your machine? Is the problem in the code? And it's super, super frustrating when you don't know actually what's happening and how you can avoid it. So at this point, you come to your team, you say the probably most hated phrase in software development, and probably the least accurate well, the most accurate statement for you, but the least accurate statement for the project that makes every single person angry. And that infamous statement is, ta-da, it works on my machine. And, you know, every single person, I dare you to raise a hand if you've never said that, or if you have never been that person who says, like, okay, it's not my fault. It works on my machine, so you folks figure it out. I know for sure I have, and I worked with developers that have told that to me. So everyone everywhere has said that at one point. So what we're going to talk about today is how do we make that not happen with Firebase Studio. But beyond just the setup and the dependencies, there are a ton of other things that every app or every project you are working on needs. And that's, authentication, database connection, some basic navigation. And, you write that over and over and over. So what you can do here and what Firebase Studio is really good at is helping with that by using AI. So we all want to build apps with Gen AI, but that's a whole new layer of complexity that gets added onto the software development. So here's where Firebase Studio steps in. Firebase Studio is part of the Firebase platform. It's an AI-powered agentic cloud-based development platform intended for building, deploying, and having the full software development lifecycle inside one platform with with the help of AI. I know these are a lot of buzzwords like AI powered, agentic, cloud based. What does that actually mean? It simply means that it's accessible through the browser. It means that it has robust AI integrated in its core, and that is heavily supported by our Firebase services and makes it easier for you to get things out of the box, um, which will speed up your development. So how does Firebase Studio look like? You're going to see a little bit later in the demo, but just a very, very quick run through. You have a welcome screen that gives you a couple of options. First option is you can just start by prototyping or describing an app that you want to build. You can do that by either using a text prompt, uploading your PRD, doing a sketch on the napkin, taking a photo and uploading the photo, or doing a combination of any of those. So basically what you can do is just give some input to the AI agent, and then it will start building an app. But today I want to talk a little bit more about the other side of Firebase Studio, and that is using the code mode or starting with a template. So what you can do is you can start a completely blank workspace. I wouldn't recommend that, but if you want, you definitely can. You can import your project from Git, or you can start with templates. You can use AI to a degree that's comfortable for you. So you can have a heavily AI powered experience, which is purely a preview and a chat, which means that you're not really writing too much code. You're just talking to an AI agent. Or you can work off of the code mode, and code mode is same experience as you would have in VS Code with your code editor, a preview, and then also super powerful agentic AI assistance. But as I said, it's completely up to you of how much AI do you want to use
So,
at
so I
which
have some
point.
questions if I'm allowed to interrupt here on the
100%.
on the AI face of things. So you mentioned that you can chat with the AI agent. You also mentioned that if you wanted to, you could start from a blank project. Are you providing any kind of context prior on the scenario of blank project, or even in the templated mode? Are you providing any kind of context, or does this tool evaluate your code base and figure that out for you first?
So in the blank workspace, no, because it's a blank workspace. On starting with a template, the template is predefined, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But code, once you, let's say, import from Git, the code base will be indexed, and then you can use context from your code base.
Got it. And
Yeah,
is it? Oh, go on.
yeah, if I could add as well, there's also a way as part of your template to define additional context, and I'm going to show you that as well when we get to the demo.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll save that for the demo. One more thing on that topic. Is there any kind of autocomplete features, or is it strictly a conversational based AI experience?
In the AI mode, it's strictly conversational, but you can seamlessly switch from with this. So even within one workspace, you can seamlessly switch between the views. So once you're in AI-centric mode, there is no code to write. There is a similar experience to, let's say, how you would use Chrome Web Tools for like inspecting and editing a certain element, but there is no code writing per se. But once you switch into code mode, yes, there is autocomplete and there is full-on AI-powered code writing.
Cool. Yeah, I'll let you continue then.
There's much more to come. Let's just deconstruct the Firebase Studio code mode, what we just spoke about. So it's web-based. Workspace is accessible via URL. Which means that it's shareable. So there's an opportunity for me, Nick, and James to share one workspace, collaborate in real time, similarly how you would do it in Google Docs, and see each other's history. It's built on VS Code, so something that most of developers are familiar with already. Once you open up a workspace or set up a workspace, you get a full cloud VM spun up in the background. So it supports just about anything, and you get terminal in your browser as well. We have live preview, so both Android and web. It's super exciting because you can see the changes very, very fast. Has obviously deep Google integrations, so you can very easily add Gemini API or Google Maps integrations, etc. It's has AI enabled, so Gemini is natively built in. As I said, in this code view, the chat/agent experience will index your code base. It's really, really good at that. So it will provide you great recommendations. And it's designed for collaboration and multiple people working on the same workspace. But today we're here to talk about Nix, or the customizability of Firebase Studio. So when I talked about starting from a template, I told you that templates are a great way to start. And the reason behind that is because customization of an environment and workspace in Firebase Studio is based off of Nix. Nix is an open source system, so there's a huge, huge community supporting lots of different packages and lots of different ways on how to configure. So what does Nix do? Nix allows you to preset in an environment or pre-install packages, some common services, extensions, what types of previews you want to see in a view, and a lot of other things. So what that means is once you open up a Firebase Studio workspace, this time if you want to start from a blank workspace, you can set up everything to your needs, then save it, put it on Git, and James can go in and load that in as a template and have exactly the same setup as I do. This is super, super, super powerful for teams, especially for folks that have very distributed teams or have, let's say, a lot of vendors or have a lot of people that need very, very quick onboarding onto a project.
Are you able to
So
walk me through just a high level scenario of some kind of configuration in Nix that a development team might be interested in? Well, I
yeah,
know we'll explore demos, but just a high level scenario.
yeah. As you can see right here, we have a configuration in Nix. So sorry, this will tell my environment what type of previews I want to have. So when I open up my code mode, once James shows you the demo, you will see that things preload. So I can say to my environment, okay, sure, I want to see an Android preview and web preview, or just Android preview or just web preview. This is a setup for a web preview. As you can see, I am here setting up, booting up my HTTP server, and it will show inside the IDE as a separate tab. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. So as I said, there are a ton of ways how to customize. Let's say if you're building a framework or you're building a library for others to use, you can include a dev.nix file. And if you put it into your repo, all of the people who are pulling your repo will have the same setup, and they can skip that setup tax based off of what you've built. And you can build your custom templates as like some opinionated starting point for your users.
If I could jump
Yeah.
in quick, Maya, if you go back one slide. So on a previous team, I was in Google Pay, and in Google Pay, I created templates and shared them in our GitHub repo. And what was great about those templates was it was nothing more than code examples for getting set up with Google Pay. And by putting it into the Git repo, configured with the Nix file, developers were able to launch their IDE right away, automatically configured, and can get up and running with our example really quickly and not have to do all of that setup text that Maya was referring to.
Yep, I think that's really cool use. This is an example for opening in Firebase Studio. So you can put this on your code example, and it will open in Firebase Studio as a pre-set up environment. But not to make you all work with every single language, framework, API, etc., and set up your own templates, we have a ton of pre-built templates for the most popular languages, for the most popular frameworks, for certain use cases, APIs, etc. So some of these are Google built for the stuff that is built by our sister teams like Flutter or Go or Angular. These are built within Google, but also we have a ton of partners that build templates for Firebase Studio, including which one of great templates is the MongoDB template. So I will hand it over into the demo space, and you can take it off from here to show how amazingly this works.
Yeah, thank you, Maya. All right, can you switch to my screen? Great. So I'm signed into Firebase Studio, and on your welcome screen, you have the ability to prototype an app like Maya was showing, or start with a new workspace, import a repo, or choose from one of the templates. You
James,
could.
real quick, for the templates, and I sorry if I missed it when Maya was talking about it. If you wanted to, I know that you can import templates that already exist from Google. What if you wanted to create a template just for your team to use? And could you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. You would share it in a repo, and then you would
Okay,
import.
it's all repo based.
It's all repo based, yeah.
All right. Is there any way to have it show up in that list next to all the little icons there? Or,
No,
or does it
these
happen
are.
after you import it?
This list is a featured list
Got it.
of pre-built.
Yeah, if you click on the new workspace, it will lead you to the template space. There is, I think, roughly around 70 right now.
I think that's right.
But it's ever-growing list.
Cool.
We're going to start with looking at the MongoDB template, and I'm going to create just a simple project here. You have a choice with this particular template, because that's how the template was defined, to choose which environment you want, either basic Node.js, Node.js with Express for API development, or Python with Flask. And since I'm a JavaScript developer, I'm going to pick the Express version and click Create. So what this is going to...
Let me just respond to somebody in the chat here. Sorry about that, James. Alfredo, I see your text. If you're not able to watch it all live, yes, this will be available on demand on the MongoDB YouTube channel post stream. So don't worry about it.
So what's happening here is it's creating that VM, and it's initializing the environment based on the specs that you had defined in your template, in your Nix file. And it will then install whatever dependencies you asked for, run any startup scripts that you configured, and it will create that environment. Just so we don't have to wait, I already created one, have one in another tab.
There you go.
And when it loads, it'll start off with, you know, the way you've configured your template, but I'm going to take you through the dev.nix file because this is the configuration of the template. So to start, we have a channel defined, and this channel is the environment your template is using. So if somebody were to find a link to your template a year from now, or you just wanted to reopen this project a year from now or 2 years from now, it's pinned to this particular environment. So you can be sure it's going to work that day as it did the day you last used it. You don't have to worry about dependencies having been changed over the course of 6 months or so, and worry about the state of your project. In this particular template, we're starting off with Node.js 20 already installed. It's the way that the template has been configured. And what I want to show you here is this IDX section. In the IDX section is how we're configuring the workspace. And the first thing you'll notice is we have this extensions array. And this gives you the opportunity to define which IDE extensions you want installed for the user by default. And here you can see that we've already installed the MongoDB extension. And if you are familiar with VS Code, you'll know that there's this extensions section here. I'm going to just toggle over to it. And you'll see that we have the MongoDB for VS Code extension already enabled. And that's because it was defined in this extensions array.
And when you download or enable a new extension, it'll automatically be placed in the Nix file?
No.
Okay.
So that's a very good question, and it's worth pointing out how this works. So when you want a new extension in your environment, you would add it to this list. And when you add the new extension, you'll need to rebuild your workspace, and then it will take effect into that workspace.
Now, if you have to add it manually and rebuild it, can you identify real quick how to obtain that actual string? Like, I wouldn't have guessed that would be a string at first glance.
You know what? Let me see if
unless does the Firebase Studio recommend a string based on what's installed?
Yeah, I'm waiting for it is not loading.
The joys of a live demo.
Yeah.
Always the best.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not able to see the extensions library.
It's all right. We can try to explore it later again.
Yeah. You should be able to see the extensions library here and be able to. Oh wait, do I have it filtered? No.
Actually, it does look kind of like you have a filter on now.
I think you do.
Click the little hourglass, the beaker. Yeah. Oh no, never mind. It's a sort.
Here we go. All right. Let's install.
So you see the identifier in when you open the extension, there is identifier.
Where exactly?
Red hat.vs code. So if you open the extension kind of pop up.
Oh, I keep
clicking
the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Click on what?
No, open any extension. Like in the description of the extension, there is, see, on the
Oh,
installation.
okay. I see it on the
There's
right.
identifier string, and that identifier string is what you should put into your extension list.
Okay, that makes sense. It's on the right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Great.
just another maybe silly question here. Are you able to version lock it to a certain identifier version? I see there's the MongoDB one is at 1.13.3. I don't know if that would be useful at all to do, or if anyone would want to do that, but could they?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure.
That's
I
explore later.
assume that it would go for the latest available with that identifier, but that being said, I'm not an expert in VS Code extensions, so I don't really know.
Okay, no worries.
All right. Yeah, I am curious on why I'm not seeing all of the extensions. I'll look into that later.
Maybe the stream's taking all your bandwidth.
So when you have the MongoDB extension installed, it does add this icon to the left, and clicking it brings you to this panel, which is more information about that extension, more access to features of that extension. So we're going to connect to a database now, and Nick, you were going to give me a connection.
Yeah, actually, so we have Pedro working behind the scenes here, changing up our screens here. Pedro, can you go ahead and share mine for me, please? I'm going to walk you through getting a string here. I just want to call out, so this works with locally installed version of MongoDB as well as Atlas, right, James? I think we talked about this privately behind the scenes.
Yep.
But I'm going to be showing the MongoDB Atlas side of things, and I'm just using a free tier cluster, so it's nothing particularly fancy. But it's you can find it on cloud.mongodb.com if you need an account. So I do have a cluster created. I don't have any user rules or network rules added yet. I was going to show you how to do that real quick. So what we want to do is we want to, if you've already got it, go to database and network access. First thing that we might want to do is I'm not opening this up to the world as of right now. I'll go ahead and open it up from anywhere. For now, it's not great practice to do this because you're opening up firewall rules and everything. But for this particular stream, I'll just set it for 6 hours, and it'll just automatically remove after that. So I have a network rule open. The other thing I want to do is I want to create a database user. So I'll just go ahead and create a new one, and I'll give you this user information as well, James, when I pass it to you. I'm going to just call this Google, and I'm just going to say Google 1234 as the password. And I am going to give it specific privileges. Did you have a database in mind that you wanted to use?
No.
Like a name?
No.
No? I'll just give you access to everything then. And we'll just take it down after. I have nothing important in this particular cluster, but I will make it temporary as well, so it'll just automatically remove itself in 6 hours. So I'll go ahead and add the user. You can see this got a little timer countdown. If I go back to my clusters and I click connect, you see the little lines moving around. It's provisioning right now, so it might just take a second. But if I click drivers, I'll select Node.js, and this is the connection string that I want to use. So I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it in our little private chat, James. And I'm also going to switch out the username and password placeholders for us. So that way you can just copy and paste it. And you should see it if you copy the whole thing, right?
Yep, I see it.
Cool. That's really all there is to it when it comes to getting your connection information. And then, Pedro, you can go ahead and switch it back to James's screen.
Okay, great. So here I am on the MongoDB overview page, and this is where we can choose the connection string, either using advanced settings, which you can configure through here. Or if you have a string like Nick just shared with me, we can use this connect button and paste the string in. And let's see, connecting. Okay, so we are connected. And you could see here in the connections, each of those collections that were part of that database that he shared.
So those are actually databases. So if you click on any of those arrows, it'll actually show you the collections on top of that.
Yes.
And for your particular user, I only gave you read and write, so it won't let you create a new database. So you can just pick one from the list.
I'll use test.
Yeah.
Sales and users. Okay, so if you had closed this window, I just want to show you that you can get it up by opening up the command panel, typing in MongoDB, and then scrolling through the list, and you'll find it as this MongoDB open overview page. And that will get you back to this. All right, so let's take a look at some of the feature sets here. So here with the extension, we have create new playground. So if we click this button, it creates this file for you. The file you can see at the top is connected to the right database server that we wanted. But you can click on it and choose if you want. If it wasn't the right one you wanted to run your playground against, you can click and choose. And I'm going to leave it on this one because that's the one we want to use. And the script comes pre-set up for you with some basic things, right? First, it chooses which database to use from your server. I'll change this to test. That's the one we're going to use. And it goes ahead and inserts some fake data into a sales collection. Then it does a couple of example queries and shows you different ways in which you can see the output from those queries. So the great thing about this playground is you can run it just by hitting this play button up here in the corner. So let's click that. It asks, are we sure? Because it wants to make sure that we have the right database server connected, that these calls are going to go to the right database. So we're going to say yes.
It's also a potentially destructive operation, so you don't want to blow out the wrong thing by accident.
Absolutely. So here we can see the first find command was outputted using console.log. So here in the output panel, we can see the output of that query. The second query is an aggregation, and when it fetched that data, it opened it here as a result as a document. And something that's really cool about this extension is when we ran the extension and it inserted these rows, we can take a look at those rows here in the database, which we used was test. We can look for that sales collection, and we can see that that sales collection has documents. So this collection had documents already. We added an additional maybe 8 or so records to it. It looked like it had 8 already. So clicking on one of those records will open up the record here in the editor, which is really cool because it gives you the ability to edit the record. So if I wanted to just change this and click save, I can close this and close the playground. I don't need it anymore. And then open up the record that I had saved, which was this 107. And you can see that the record has changed to reflect my changes. You can also see here in the sales collection the schema that was used for creating those records, which it inferred from that playground script. You can, when we did the insert, at any time, if you wanted to do another playground script, you could just click new, create new playground, creates the script for you. And you can modify this to meet your needs.
Now, I haven't had hands-on experience with the Firebase Studio, but I am familiar with the plugin for just standard Visual Studio Code. If a common scenario in Visual Studio Code is if you selected a block or a command, you could run just that command. Can you still do that in Firebase Studio rather than the whole file? So if you highlight that insert statement or the aggregation,
like this, and then run just that command.
Yeah. Well, usually, maybe it's a little different in Firebase Studio, but usually when you hover over it, there's like a little play button right on that particular line.
No,
that's all right. It's not a deal breaker or anything. It's still very useful.
Yeah, and I think that this play button will, let's see, I think it runs the whole script, but we'll see. No, it did run just this statement, but I didn't select enough for it to know the constant.
That's good to know.
Yeah, so let's run that.
And I know that there's, well, at least in the Visual Studio Code side of things, if you wanted to, and you probably shouldn't, but if you wanted to disable that little message that pops up every single time, you could, but it's probably good practice just to leave it enabled.
This message?
Yeah, that message. If you're feeling adventurous, I guess you could disable it, but it's probably not a good idea.
Okay. So let's take a look at maybe making some changes to this script. So here we have where when we created a new playground, it defaults to this playground database, which we have here. So we could write to this database. You could change it. You can create a different collection. So let's say we wanted to could do something like Ask Gemini. All right, so let's save this file. We'll save it to the IDX folder as playground1. And we could say in IDX playground1 mongodb.js. Let's update the insert many command to insert 10 fake records for you know what, let's update.
Could you use this to vibe code a full application, or is it not intended for that?
Sorry, go ahead, Maya.
Yeah, so it's not intended for, like, depends on the definition of vibe coded. It's not gonna go through the smooth flow as if you started with a prompting, but you can totally use it for like giving it context, giving it files, and asking it to start building. There are three like where James is writing now, there's an attachment and there's a little drop down. There are three modes. One is ask, which is kind of planning / educational. There is agent, but human in the loop. So you have to approve everything. And then is agent mode, which I call YOLO mode, which is just, go on and do your stuff. You clearly still have to approve like terminal stuff, but it will pretty much do all of the execution on its own. So technically, yes, you can. I had some good results in other templates, like in a Flutter template, which is optimized for that specific use case. But I wouldn't recommend somebody who is not at least somewhat technical to start from this view. I would recommend definitely going into the prototyping workflow, because that way you get like a PRD, a tech spec, everything, and it's just a much smoother experience for non-super tech users.
Good to know.
So here I'm
I
just
like
playing
the,
around.
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just playing around. Asked it to create some fake items for a fictional RPG where they're magic items like this ring of infinite loops that reduces a person's speed while they're wearing it. And when you ask Gemini to make a change to a file like I had just done, it gives you the option to either update the file directly, or you can first review the changes. I like to review the changes first, just to make sure it's following my directions the way that I intended for them to be, because maybe I didn't word it that well. Maybe I was a little vague and it understood something else and went down a different path. This gives me an opportunity to validate my prompt and look through to see. And so far looks good, right? It changed the name of the collection like I asked it to. It created the example that I had asked it to, but it also created some more examples. I asked for 10 in total. And these look good, so I'm going to go ahead and just update the file. If I was unhappy with the result, I could have given it another prompt. It would not have applied the changes. I could have given it a clarifying prompt, and then it would have redid its prior work and showed me a new diff, which I could have reviewed. But looks good. Saved it. And
Can I just jump in, James, for real quick? One of the stuff that I really like about Super Chat is, we call it Super Chat internally. One thing I really like about Super Chat, it's really good with external files. So let's say the Tome of Forbidden Knowledge and all of the Rings of Infinite Loops are somewhere in some sort of spreadsheet. You can point it to the file and it will do all the magic itself. Like, you don't have to spell it out. It's really good at looking at external stuff, looking at APIs, and just bringing everything in and updating from a data source.
Does this have to be a Google Sheet, or could be any spreadsheet?
Can be any, like, you can attach the Excel, can be any like what point where you can just say it's here at this URL. It's really good at reading, understanding what it is, and kind of mashing it with your code.
Cool.
All right.
Oh, I love the wind of refactoring. I want that.
Yeah. So the project that we started with, the template, if we go back to the dev.nix, we had started talking about the extensions, and we dove into the MongoDB extension. But I wanted to just come back quickly and show you a little bit more of this template, because it defined how this workspace was created and runs. So in this workspace section, we have two lifecycle events. The first lifecycle event is on create. So this lifecycle event happens one time for your workspace when you've created it. So you publish the template, and 4 people on your team download the template and run it into Firebase Studio. Each person is going to have this on create run once for them, for their VM. And it's where you can do things like npm install, right? So it'll install all the packages. Maybe here we have certain files open by default, which is that experience we had when we first saw the workspace. where maybe you want the README open for them automatically.
Would
Again,
you want to do the npm install during the onCreate? What if somebody else makes a change and you pull the change from Git? Wouldn't you want that to potentially npm install again, or is there any way to watch for changes based on the package.json?
this is the initial install. So when you set up your workspace,
Yeah.
if there's a newer commit on the repo that has changes to npm, then when you run this npm install, it's going to get the latest, right? Because it's going to get it from the package lock JSON.
Wait, so does the onCreate run every time you do a pull, or just when you first ever use it?
It's just the first. This runs just the first time. Okay. So if you, I think what you're asking is, if I were to set up this workspace, and when the workspace is created, npm install was run, then at some future point in time, somebody does a commit that has a change to npm, how am I going to get those changes? Well, that's on the developer, that when they do a fetch, if they see that the fetch requires an npm install, they need to manually run npm install to update their packages.
Got it. Thanks for the clarity.
Say that again?
Thanks for clearing it up.
Yeah, because it's all dependent on your Git workflow, right?
Sure.
So if your Git flow is when you fetch, you look to see what the changes were. If those changes required an npm update or any other dependency update, you would run those commands after you did the fetch.
All right.
The other lifecycle event in Workspace is onStart, and onStart will happen every time you open the workspace. So both of these happen the first time you open the workspace, but only the second one happens every time thereafter you open the workspace. And in this particular template, we're doing two things. We're running both the MongoDB server or daemon, and we're running the Node.js server for the Express API that we installed with the template. And because both of these run on different ports, 27,017 for the Mongo, and I think port 3000 for Node, we can see those ports by taking a look here. So this studio icon in the top right, when you expand it, you'll see a couple of things. You'll see an opportunity to install Google-specific integrations into Studio, but you'll also see the backend ports. And the backend ports are what ports are available for this workspace, and they get mapped for you publicly so that you can see them outside of the VM. So for example, 3000 is our Express server. So if we click this icon here, you can copy the URI, but if you click this icon here, it's going to open it in a new tab. And when you click on it, first it's going to ask you if you want to trust this domain, and we do because it's our server. But what I wanted to show you before just clicking open or trust is the path. The way that the ports are set up is it's set up as part of the subdomain on the server. So it's really being served as 443 on HTTPS, but it is in the VM port 3000, just being forwarded through that proxy. So I'm just going to configure this so it doesn't prompt me in the future. When you click it, it gives you some options here. I can trust all of Cloud Workstations and its subdomains so that every server I set up will work. or you can just trust the first one, which is this specific one that I requested.
I have a
And
question as well. When you're serving it like that, is it serving only for the extent that you have your
yeah,
Firebase Studio open, or is it serving even after you've closed it?
no, it is only during the existence of the VM. So the
Okay.
existence of the VM exists while you're using it, and when you leave the VM, I guess there's a certain grace period before it shuts down, but it'll shut down and then the URL won't work until somebody starts up the VM again.
Okay.
So every time you open up a Firebase Studio, we spin up like an ephemeral VM, and your workspace is mapped to a VM. As long as you keep working, it keeps going. When you're idle more than 15 minutes, it shuts down, and you need to restart the workspace, so you get like another VM or you get a new instance, and then it starts running again.
Cool. It said the API was running. Was that all we had for this particular project?
Yeah. So if we look at the server script, we see that for this particular route, the root route, it just sends the message the server is running.
Cool. This is all pretty fascinating stuff, and I know we're almost out of time. But is there anything that you want the developers to know in particular that is really cool that maybe is not so obvious about this whole thing?
I would just go to the IDX file and say how simple it is to set up. Like it's super, like dev.nix. It's literally just stating what you want. What you want in
Regarding
your template.
regarding this Nix file, I don't think I saw it when you were typing and filling it out. Kind of looks like Gradle, but I'm not sure what the format is. Does it help you make sure it's correct? Is there any validator in place, so that way you know what you're adding here is actually going to work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you could see that I have a syntax error now, and it's complaining about the setup.
And if you tried to add like a lifecycle hook that didn't exist, it would, I assume, yell at you. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Nix, the official language, you can find on the open source website. There's a great tutorial on the language itself. And it's an open source project. Nix OS is an open source project.
Cool. Well, this was fascinating stuff. So if people wanted to try all this out, they'll just head over to studio.firebase.google.com.
Yeah,
correct?
exactly.
Or is there another link that you'd like them to use?
That is very correct. If we go back to the slides, all of the info is right there. People can try it for free at firebase.studio or firebase.google.com/studio. You can try with a workspace, try vibe coding, try using code mode, try MongoDB template, try any other templates. It's pretty neat. I'm saying that because I'm biased, obviously, but it's pretty useful for standardizing the environment and making sure that, especially, let's say, a larger team has exactly the same environment. I often, when I talk to customers, it's really useful for them to put some guardrails around their specifics, standards, it just gives them the ability to package everything, put a bow on it, and ship it to their developers.
Awesome stuff. Anything else you'd like to add, or should we split and we'll see you on the next one, kind of thing? Sorry, I was just
Well,
reading a message that came through.
well, thanks for having us. It was really great. You had great questions. I hope people try Firebase Studio. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, please do. Give it a try. If you run into any trouble, at least with the MongoDB side of things, you can check out the MongoDB forums. If they have any issues that they want addressed for Firebase Studio, is there anywhere they should go in particular?
There's a Firebase Studio community, very responsive from all of us, so they can
Cool.
post there.
Yeah, the community forum is the best place to go for community support. And we also have some team members go in there as well and interact with the team, with the forum.
Love it. All right, Maya, James, great having you on the stream.
Thank
Pedro,
you very
you're
much.
welcome to hit that end button.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.